Good morning, good people. Today is Thursday, April 24th, 2025. It's about 6 o'clock. My name is Edward Bevilacqua. This is Department of Career Services, where our simple goal is to help our students and interested people experience this life. Boom, that's it. No big deal, just to help our students and interested people experience this life. How do we do it? Well, we do it in a few different ways. First of all, it's the podcast, and the goal of the podcast is to help our viewers build better habits. That's it, build better habits. And how do we do that? Well, we set up a routine. And then we do repetition. And after a while, it becomes unconscious behavior. We just do it automatically. We don't think about it. And if we don't do it, we feel like something is missing. And if you think about your life, we have thousands of habits that we do. Well, maybe not thousands, but on a daily basis, we have hundreds, who knows, a lot of habits, starting with our routine. Our morning routine. And our morning routine is comprised of a whole bunch of other routines. And it's things that we can do mindlessly, unconsciously, where we could be thinking about something else. So showing up for the podcast, building it as part of your routine, just the thing of that helps build better habits. Now, if you actually get anything out of the daily podcast, that's better. And sometimes you will. Sometimes there is a nugget of gold in that river of silt. Sometimes you find the nugget, especially if you're looking for it. Sometimes, boom, it'll just appear before you, but other times it won't. And the main thing is not the podcast, it's the worksheet. It's the stuff down below. It's on our website, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, here on YouTube. That is the main thing. So before we get started, as always, we need to say good morning, Miss Trinkle, wherever you are. Bonk, habit. Not really conscious, but it's a habit too. So good morning, Miss Trinkle, wherever you are. And okay, next. All righty. So we got a big show today, a really big show. We've got a big show, really big show. So the theme of today is, what's your fictional story? And many people might feel compelled. I don't have a fictional story, man. I keep it real. Man. I have no fictional story. No, that's insincere. That is lying. Nope. As we will see, or as Yuval Harari points out. Now, let me just say something here. If we are looking at the web, I'm going to go to the worksheet. This is where we have the actual experts. These are not people who have a following of lemmings. These are experts. These are people that the sophisticated, educated world considers to be experts. So who am I talking about? Well, Dr. Livingood is an expert. Dave Goggins, Andrew Huberman, Stanford, Arthur Brooks, Harvard, Barbara Oakley. On learning, today's TED Talk is Yuval Harari, who has written a few books, and most people who are well educated say, this guy knows what he's talking about. Ryan Holiday, Daily Stoic, Seth Godin, Darren Hardy, Jordan Peterson, Mark Devine, Baraka Church, Jesus. Okay, so it is, the worksheet is the experts, not the, oh, I saw this guy and he's really passionate and he appeals to my emotions, and I really feel empowered, inspired when I listen to him talk. But when I look at his credentials, he's not really, doesn't really have a good pedigree. Yeah, but the Holy Spirit is imbued in him. He's getting it from the Holy Spirit. Okay, well, so the Holy Spirit doesn't talk to well pedigreed people. Golly gee. All right, we'll have to think about that. So, going to keep it short today. Today is a big day. Going to Las Vegas. Going to Las Vegas. Let's look at the red letter on the worksheet. Advice from an 80-year-old. Think twice before burdening a friend with a secret. Right, because now they got to carry it around. So think twice before you do that, before you put a load on a friend of yours, okay, which could be dangerous, which could get you sucked in, because you could get them sucked in. Next red letter thing. Well, it's Ted. We're going to come back to that. Daily Stoic, the seventh law, Robert Greene, from his new book, The Laws of Human Nature, something like that. The seventh law. And it fits in with today's theme. The seventh law basically is you need to understand how people think of themselves. So if people have a low opinion of themselves and you say, no, you're really great, try to pump them up. You're really great. They won't believe you because they believe what they believe. Because I know myself better than you do. And I know I'm this. I'm not worthy. So if somebody tells me I'm worthy, my opinion of their opinion is low. So the seventh law is you have to understand, paraphrasing, the seventh law, paraphrasing, is that you have to understand what people think of themselves. And I think that's a thing we don't do. And I think I'm guilty of always trying to put air in people's tires. And what Robert Greene is saying is, well, if you're trying to put air in the tires of somebody who knows their tire is flat, they're going to say to you, you're wrong, you're just wasting your time. So what would you do? You say, let's patch the tire and then put air in. We're going to put air in your tires, but first we need to patch it. I've got the air. Let's go figure out how we're going to patch this tire. Got a spare? Whatever. Okay. Seth's blog. Powerlessness. Once again, what is your fictional story? And not a lack of power, but feeling as though we have none. Some people have been indoctrinated to prefer a life with no agency, as it also brings no responsibility. The other extreme, some folks have decided that they have more power than they actually do. Video games offer people a chance to experience virtual power. Okay? By giving players agency, the games allow users to feel something they might be avoiding in real life. Everyone is on a spectrum. No one has absolute power, no one is powerless. But our expectation and experience of power is always a choice. Choosing the attitude of powerlessness is self-defeating as well as self-negating. The fact that the attitude can be chosen is in itself a form of power. We can find control over our attitude and our actions, gaining priceless power as we do. No one can change everything, but everyone can change something. If you choose to live a life with impact, it's in your control to do so. Okay, so we're going to keep that quote. We're going to add that up above tomorrow. No one can change everything, but everyone can change something. Right, we're going to add that up above tomorrow. We're going to carry that around just like we have a couple other Seth Godin ones. This one on the wall over there, stop chasing shortcuts. Another one we have is people like us do things like this. Or people like us do things like that. Okay, so, all right, next red letter, Darren Hardy, incremental change. You have tiny change over long periods of time has a compounding effect and it creates a curve. It's not a straight line. focus on incremental change. Small incremental change, this podcast would be an example of that. Small incremental change. I'm not trying to change the world today. I'm just trying to do this. Just for today. Just for today. Just for today. Bonk. Code. That's code. That's code. Bonk. Okay, next on our hit parade. Next red letter, let's see, we got Darren Hardy. Oh, Jordan Peterson, little Jordan Peterson short. The algorithm. The algorithm. So when you're on the internet, when you're on when you're on YouTube, Facebook, any social media, even your email, they're now finding out your preferences, keywords, and they're giving you more of that. So what Jordan Peterson says is, yeah, that's kind of good because you don't waste your time looking at stuff you're not interested in. However, the problem is the algorithm is designed for short-term, immediate impact. Immediate impact. Get it now. Get it quick. Get it for hedonic pleasure or hedonic results. So they're giving you stuff that is relevant right now. The problem with that is you might need to forego. So this is the marshmallow test. Foregoing immediate pleasure for something better later. So you've got the algorithm working against long-term improvement. The algorithm is working against incremental change. It's giving you more of what you want to hear now. So if you're upset, sad, you watch a video about people who are upset and sad, the algorithm is going to give you more of that, and that's going to tend to shape your view, which is fine if you get that that's what's happening. And you need to get beyond that and say, okay, this is what it's trying to get me to feel now because this is what I'm feeling now. So what I'm interested in now, but I really need to focus on where do I want to be next year? Where do I want to be 3 years from now? And so, yeah, maybe I have to go to school. Maybe I have to learn a new skill. Maybe I have to do this because if I stay who I am for too long, the world will pass me by. We can talk about that with cell phones. For example, nowadays you can't have a Fred Flintstone phone anymore. Nowadays you can't have a rotary phone anymore. And if you wait until you can't do it anymore, you're so far behind where everyone else is, it's kind of ridiculous. So that goes to, our transformational program, the mental part. You need to always be learning, not do the hedonic, what makes me feel good now. So for example, what makes me feel good now could be having ice cream every day. But if I have ice cream every day, after a year, I'm going to look a lot different than if I have ice cream once a month and I'm exercising, right? Immediate pleasure. Ice cream, yeah, love it. Long-term pleasure, health, fitness, the ability to circumlocate, to move around, to take my spirit, my soul, to take it to places, to experience things that I can't if my body is broken. Righto, right you are. Okay, so where are we at? 13, 14 minutes in. Okay, we've got 1 minute to go. We're going to keep these things short now. I'm going to do just bing, bang, boom. So today is day 4 in our neuroscience-oriented approach to success, which is Yuval Harari talking about fictional stories. Fictional stories. Humans control the planet because we invent stories that if we get people to believe the story, if everybody believes it, then it actually works. So Yuval Harari gives a lot of examples of fictional stories. He said the best fictional story is money, the belief, and he uses the example. If I can get you to believe that this worthless green piece of paper is worth 10 bananas, if I get everybody to believe it, it works. And we can go and make our lives better because we all believe the story. But it's actually, in an objective reality, it's a worthless piece of paper. It's not gold. It's not something of value. Taking a piece of paper that has no value. Or my plastic card. If I give you my plastic card and approved pops up on the screen, that's worth whatever it is that you're giving me. If we believe that story, and so how does that apply to each of us? Well, we have to get other people to believe a story about us. We're not taking this for the negative. Nothing that we do here is to use the, in quotes analogy, use the force in a dark way. We want to use the force for good, to be a Jedi, not to be a Sith. We're not bending the laws of nature, the power, how things work, to take advantage or manipulate people. But we are attuned, we as humans are attracted to stories. So, for example, you want to get a job. What is the fictional story you want the person to believe? In other words, it's not true at the moment. You're telling them something that is not currently true. It could become true, but it's not true. And so the story that you're telling him is, you should hire, I will be somebody worth you hiring. I can make your job better. I can add value. Until you're hired, that's a fictional story. It's not true. Could it be true? Yeah, it could become true, but it isn't true when it's said. So you need to understand Yuval Harari's point is, that's what we do. We believe in fictional stories. Another fictional story we believe in is human rights. So he'll say you can cut open a body and you can find bones and neurons and muscles and organs, but you won't find any human rights. There are no rights in our body, but we believe they exist. Countries are fictional stories. There is no actual boundary on the world. These are things that humans created, and we all believe them. Prisons, that is a negative fictional story, because it's not objective reality. A beautiful sunset is not an objective reality. The sunset may be an objective reality, even though the sun isn't actually setting, but it is going over the horizon. The beautiful part is subjective, it's fictional, it's your own opinion. So understand that, tell a fictional story that they believe. In a courtroom, your attorney is telling a story to the jury, and you are supposed to be telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. You swear an oath to do that because people tend to tell stories that are not the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So we live in a world with fictional stories. Laws are fictional. They're not objective realities. They're made up. And if we all agree to them, then we'll follow them, or at least we'll try not to get caught breaking them. So understand that is the nature of the world. That's why humans control the planet. So he breaks it down as thus, and then we're going to end it. Humans are the only animals that can work flexibly in large numbers. Other animals can work in large numbers, ants, bees, but not flexibly. They only have one way of doing things. If you get rid of the queen bee, the hive goes away. The bees can't decide, hey, we're going to change from this system. We're going to have a democracy. We're going to have a dictatorship. We're going to have a worker, the communist version of work. We're not. Bees and ants don't do it. They have one way to do things. It takes a long time to change. Other animals can work flexibly, but not in large numbers. So Yuval Harari talks about chimpanzees as an example. They can work flexibly, but only in small numbers because I have to know you as a chimpanzee. If I don't know you, I can't trust you. So I can't trade with you. I can't like you. I can't cooperate with you if I don't know you. So that means it's small. He'll say you'll never see a chimpanzee go off to another place to talk to another chimpanzee troop, tribe, whatever they are, group, of chimpanzees to tell them new information. You won't ever see that happening. Humans do that, though. Humans are the only animals that can do that. And the question is, well, why can humans cooperate flexibly in large numbers? And he says, because we can invent stories that we believe. If we can invent a story and believe the story, then we'll act out the story. We will cooperate. He says, then he brings it down to the next level. Well, why are humans able to create stories and other ones can't? And his answer is because only humans live in a dual reality world, the objective reality which all other animals live in. A tree is a tree, a river is a river, a mountain is a mountain. Humans live in that too, but we also live in a fictional, he calls it fictional reality, subjective reality world, where a mountain could be beautiful, a stream could be dangerous, a river could be this. So we're able to see it in two ways. Now the question would be, diverting from Yuval Harari to Susanna Herculano at Princeton, would be because we have more neurons. We have way more neurons than anyone else. We have this past this critical threshold of neurons so that we have enough neurons that we can see the world in a subjective way, fictional way. We can create art. We can make stories. We can answer questions about why does this exist. We can think of questions like that. We're the only animals that do that. Susanna Herculano then goes on to answer the question, well, why? And her answer is because we're the only animals that cook our food, which means it's not the cooked food, it's the benefit of cooking the food. We get more calories in a shorter amount of time. So that leaves us more time to think, to do stuff. And the world as it has been, what do we think about? Well, historically, we have thought about survival. How do we survive? How do we make it easier to survive? So we put more energy into thinking about survival. We need more neurons. The system repeats. Life becomes more complicated. We need more neurons. Our skulls expand. Our brains fold over. We have a crinkled brain. And voila, here we are. And so my apologies for going over. But this is an important one. You can drill it down to yourself. You can apply the Yuval Harari thing to you to help you move forward in the world. Simple as that. Okay, so with that, we're going to say apologies for being so long. And yeah, as Mark Wahlberg said in The Martian. And yeah, I just blew myself up. So yeah, okay. With that, we're going to say until tomorrow, people. Shivas and shalom, scotch and peace, end the stream. Cut.